Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Wright. The testimony just now has cleared up the entire case. What do you mean, Mr. Wright? So you finally realized the truth. There could be no other murderer here than Miles Edgeworth himself. Wrong, wrong, Von Karma. A man was shot that night, but it wasn't Edgeworth who did the shooting. Listen, rookie. Take a deep breath and consider the facts. At the time of the murder, one boat was on the lake. This was shown by the witness's photograph. The defendant, Edgeworth, and the victim, Robert Hammond, were on the boat. There was a gunshot fired on the boat, and Robert Hammond fell into the lake. The distance of the shooting was 1 meter. It couldn't have been suicide. Well, the guilty party has to be the other man on the boat.
Wait, could the man have been shot much sooner and already been bleeding out on the... I don't know.
I admit, it's hard to imagine any other possibility. Yes, but this assumes that the victim was shot 15 minutes after midnight. Huh? What do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? We have photographic evidence of the time of the shooting. The timestamp on the photo says 0015, but Larry heard a gunshot 25 minutes before that. Robert Hammond was killed then, 25 minutes before the shot on the lake. That's the only way that Edgeworth could be innocent. Huh? Mr. Wright, are you quite mad? Explain who the two men on the boat are. Edgeworth and the murderer.
Because the murderer was the one that threw himself into the water?
Yeah.
Because if Hammond was already dead and thrown in the water.
Yeah, exactly. So, murderer murders Hammond, throws Hammond into the lake. Then Edgeworth goes out to meet this guy on the boat.
Except it's not who he thinks that he is, and the dude.
And he tricks Edgeworth into thinking he shot the guy. Thinking he shot himself. Of course, it was Edgeworth and the murderer. After the murderer killed Robert Hammond at 11:50, he assumed the guise of Mr. Hammond and met Edgeworth. What? Are you serious? Yes, Edgeworth won't tell us why he went to the lake that night. However, I have a hunch. That night, Robert Hammond called Edgeworth to the lake. Now, Edgeworth didn't know Robert Hammond's face that well. That's why he didn't suspect anything when the murderer took Robert Hammond's place. I'm not sure what to make of all of this. Ludicrous! Mr. Wright, tell us the name of the murderer, then. The murderer's name? Right, it's... I don't know.
You don't know.
Actually, I don't know the murderer's name. You don't know? Bah! Again, you waste my time. I don't know, because he never told us. The murderer is the caretaker of the boat shop, that old man. At 11:50, he was the one who killed Robert Hammond. The caretaker of the boat shop? Where did he do this? There weren't any boats on the lake then. Why would he have to go all the way out onto the lake just to shoot someone? May I suggest that the real scene of this crime was not on a boat? What? Well then, where did the murder take place?
Showed the judge where the murder took place.
Here, of course, the boat shop where he lives. That way you can meet with the victim without anyone seeing. Do you have proof that the boat shop was the scene of the crime? Recall Larry's testimony, if you will. That night, he was out on the lake in a boat, searching for something. He finds it and returns the boat. Then, just as he's starting to head home, he hears a gunshot. He heard a gunshot, Your Honor, even though he was wearing headphones at the time. In other words, the gunshot was very, very close by. And where would that be if he had just returned a boat? The boat shop! Mr. Wright, what happened that night on Gourd Lake? Please tell the court from the beginning. Yes, Your Honor.
Nick, are you sure about this?
Not really. But I think if I start at the very beginning, and I take it slow, I might just be able to figure this out. That night, the caretaker of the boat shop called Robert Hammond to his shop. Oh, remember...
Crawley!
Well, remember how it was Remember DL6?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't tell the parrot to help him remember. He said that to Hammond.
Mm-hmm.
This was around 11:50. That was when the gunshot that Larry heard was fired. After that, the caretaker put on Robert Hammond's coat. He became Robert Hammond. Then he got in the boat with Edgeworth and went out into the middle of the lake. Then who fired the pistol on the boat, Mr. Wright? Boat shop caretaker.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it was the murderer who shot the pistol. He shot twice. Both missed Edgeworth on purpose. Wait a minute. Yes? Why would he shoot twice if he didn't mean to hit anyone? Details. Know this, Mr. Wright. The moment you run out of explanations is the moment you lose. Tell us why the murderer had to fire twice. To create a witness.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he shot twice to create a witness, Your Honor. Create a witness? The murderer lifts his pistol and fires one shot. That ensures that anyone who heard the shot would look at the lake. Indeed, Miss Hart did exactly that after hearing the first gunshot. Next, the murderer waits a bit and then fires again. Then, the murderer jumps from the boat himself, leaving the pistol in the boat behind him. I see. To someone looking from the edge of the lake, it would appear that one of the men on the boat had shot the other. The murderer didn't know about the automatic camera, of course. That's why he shot twice, to draw attention to the boat. Huh. Once you realize that, everything else falls into place. The boat shop caretaker swam back to his shop, then he put Mr. Hammond's wet coat back on the body, and threw the body into the lake. This is what happened, Your Honor. These are the events that transpired on that night on Gourd Lake. Ah. Bailiff! Bring out the witness from before. The boat shop caretaker. Quickly! Very well. While we're waiting for the caretaker, I'd like to ask the defendant, Miles Edgeworth, a few questions. Mr. Edgeworth, please take the stand. Mr. Edgeworth, you heard what the defense has said. Yes. Well, why did you go out to the lake that night? What Wright has said was mostly correct. Astonishingly so, actually. Yes. Several days ago, I received a letter. The letter was signed Robert Hammond. He asked me to come to the boat shop at the lake lake at midnight on Christmas Eve. He said he had something very important to discuss with me. Something important? I'm sorry, I can't say what it was. Your Honor, sir. Bailiff, we are conducting a trial here. I ask that you remain quiet. The witness has disappeared. He isn't at the boat shop either. What? What should I do? Find him, quickly! We cannot allow him to get away! Mr. Von Karma, your witness has disappeared! A search warrant has already been issued. It goes without saying that I cannot declare a verdict under these circumstances. I will extend the trial until tomorrow, the final day allowed. I request that the police department utilize all its forces to find that witness. Am I understood? One more thing. Just who is that boat shop caretaker? I think his identity has become very important to this trial. I want him, and I want to know who he is. Very well, court is adjourned.
December 27th, 1:22 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Yay, Nick, you did it!
Yeah, Well, at least we got out from under that guilty verdict.
And what about Larry? That was something else. Even Von Karma didn't know what to do with his testimony. Larry really helped us out.
Sure. Once I sifted through his unique testimony. Still, he did save us. I just wish our cases weren't so down to the wire all the time.
I know what you mean. Sometimes I feel like it's us on trial instead of our clients.
Hey, Edgeworth.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Did you say something?
Don't...
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Don't look so pained. I mean, it looks like you're probably going to get off the hook. You could try to smile just a little. Relax.
I'm sorry, but I fear it's not over for me yet. What do you mean? Right? There's something that's been troubling me for a long time now, and I don't know whether or not to tell you. Edgeworth? No, there's so little time left. I want to tell you to get it off my chest, but I can't make up my mind. What is this about, Edgeworth? It's a nightmare I've had. A memory of a crime that I committed. A crime you committed? A memory of a murder. He thinks he shot his father.
He thinks he killed his own father?
Mm-hmm.
Eek.
Because he probably woke up with a gun in his hand as a kid.
Mm.
This is not the first time that the boat caretaker has
tried to frame someone else.
Has tried to frame Edgeworth specifically.
Edgeworth specifically. December 27th, 2:11 p.m., Wright & Co. Law Offices.
I'm gonna hand this to you for this part.
What was Mr. Edgeworth talking about?
A memory of a crime that I committed. A memory of a murder.
Do you really think Mr. Edgeworth killed?
I don't believe it. Not Edgeworth. Some painful memory has been troubling him recently. But he'd never take someone's life. Never.
Nick.
Yo, how's everybody doing? What do you think of my performance today?
Oh,
I had him swooning in the aisles, huh, Maya?
Swooning? Me? Oh, yes. Oh, I do remember feeling faint.
Right on, tell me the truth. It was like love at first sight, right? Right, Nick? Huh? Me? Well, maybe my heart skipped a beat or two. I think you can do better than that. Come on, I saved Edgeworth in there, dude. Edgy! You guys should be bowing before me. Yeah! Bow before your hero!
Okay.
Harry, you really helped out in the trial today.
You did! If you weren't there, Larry, I'm sure Mr. Edgeworth would have been found guilty.
But seriously, Nick, that boat shop caretaker guy is pretty suspicious. But Edgy ain't off the hook yet.
Way to spoil the mood, Larry.
Hey, I'm just a guy sitting in the audience, you know?
This is doing a number on your voice, isn't it?
It's really bad. But from where I'm sitting, Edgy seemed pretty edgy. I mean, can you really know he's telling the truth about that night?
Nick?
I don't know. But what I do know is, I'm going to believe in you two until the end. Us two?
People are trying to guesstimate her age in chat. I think she said 17, guys, right? Unless she had a birthday.
She's 17.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure she's 17 in this game.
Yeah, she's mentioned that a couple times.
And I think every game is a year later, so she's 17 in this one, 18 in the second game and then 19 in the third game. So that's why her profile says that. Oh, checking court record.
Really? Court record?
Mm-hmm. Go to profiles.
Right bumper.
17.
17, I was right.
Yep. Yeah, so it'll say 19 in a different game.
It's 24. He's only 30. Wait, what?
Yeah.
I don't feel closer to a Dick Gumshoe than a Miles Edgeworth.
I mean, if you want, I could get you closer to my Dick Gumshoe.
Carl, you stop that. Okay, so really 30? I would have thought Dick Gumshoe would have been 45 or 40. Yeah, and he was 35 when he died. He's 22, 23, that makes sense. 64, that makes sense. It's 48, 46. Oh,
God.
Oh gosh.
I think that's the first time either of us have seen him straight on.
Yeah. Manfred von Karma, age 65, veteran prosecutor who's never lost a case in his 40-year career.
This man never blinks.
So that means he was,
his eyes are
25.
painted on. They fell out years ago.
Age question mark. Yep. In any case, back. Edgeworth and who else? You mean me, right?
Nah, he means me, right, Nick? Yeah, you, Larry.
Not me. But why you, Larry?
Huh? Actually, yeah, why me, Nick?
Enough with the silent treatment. Nick, why do you trust Mr. Edgeworth so much? I mean, he's changed recently, true. But when we first met him, he was kind of a jerk, don't you think?
You didn't know him back then. Back when he wanted to become a defense attorney.
Wait. Was that when you two were classmates?
Yeah, in grade school.
This is a new song.
That it is.
It's interesting.
They saved me. Miles and Larry. They saved me and I'll never forget it. That's why I became a defense attorney, you know?
What? Hey, Larry, what's he talking about?
Huh? Oh, sorry, I kind of forgot.
Okay, Nick, out with it. I'm going to hear this story today, and that's final.
Okay. It's kind of a long story, so hang in there. It was the very end of 3rd grade. I was on trial, a class trial.
A class trial? The class trial.
You remember, Larry. Spring, end of 3rd grade. A kid in our class got his lunch money stolen.
Oh, were they gonna blame Phoenix for stealing the kids' lunch money?
Mm-hmm.
Lunch money?
Our school was really small. Every month, kids would bring in an envelope with money for lunch from home.
Huh, I see.
Anyway, this kid's envelope disappeared with $38 still inside. Oh yeah, now that you mention it, I do remember that. I can see why you'd forget, though. You were out of school that day. Anyway, the envelope had been stolen during PE class. I was coming down with a cold, so I skipped PE that day. I was the only one not in class.
That's why he was the suspect. So, they thought you did it?
Yeah. The kids in class said I should be put on trial.
Trial?
So the next day, Sorry, I wanted to look something up. Somebody had pointed something out about Von Karma's daughter, and I wanted to verify it. Anyway.
Oh, is that going to be the antagonist of the next one?
Yeah, she's the prosecutor in the second game. They mentioned her age, and I wanted to figure out how old she was. Because if I remember right, she is, like, younger than Phoenix.
Huh. Well, I mean...
Oh, boy. So she is...
Don't tell me Maya's age.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, she's... The oldest recorded age in the game is 19. So she's a little older than Maya, which means Von Karma had her when he was, like, 48?
And, I mean, he could either... Yeah, maybe he's
not
a
a
sugar
big
daddy
deal.
lawyer? I don't know.
I mean, it's fine. It's just kind of weird. Anywho.
Uh-huh.
So the next day, we held a classroom trial with me as the defendant.
Aww.
I didn't do it.
I want to see who else is in the classroom.
Unnamed kids.
And then Edgeworth. Do you think Edgeworth is the kid in the red on the left?
No.
Or the one
You'll know
straight
when
up?
you see Edgeworth. Because he's
gonna be in a suit.
Yeah, with a cravat. Guilty! He did it!
Guilty! It was you!
Give the money back!
Thief! You're such a big beady. Just admit you did it.
You can't hide the truth!
Tell us the truth!
We're not gonna play with you anymore.
Yeah!
You shouldn't be allowed in the relay race. Give me back the 50 cents I loaned you.
Hey, did you rob... No, Phoenix. You know you shouldn't steal people's money. It's not right.
Screw that teacher. In the end, not even the teacher thought I'd done it.
Go over and apologize, Phoenix.
I think they would have actually wanted the money
Oh
back.
my god, that shirt is terrifying.
They would have wanted the money back because they need to give the kid food for the month, right?
Yeah, but $38 is like pretty substantial.
That's
for a
substantial
kid to have.
for a kid. I know.
Yeah, that was like 4 months' allowance for me.
What do you think that is depicting? It looks like a buddy cop show.
It is a buddy horror show.
Is it like a cop that's a dog man with big lips? And what's the ominous face on the right? Like a samurai guy?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I didn't know what was happening. I was so sad, I couldn't stop crying.
Oh.
Everyone was staring at me like I'd done it. I tried to apologize. I went to where the boy whose money had been stolen was sitting. That's when it happened.
Objection!
He shouldn't have to apologize. The only thing that belongs in a trial is evidence.
Oh, that's going to be your young Edgeworth Kate voice. Yeah.
Anything else has no place. You should all be ashamed, amateurs.
Miles.
Okay, bow tie, not cravat.
Oh, he has a little bow tie and he's in a suit. That's so cute. And look, he's doing the classic.
Yeah. Actually, no. As a child, he just had ginormous hands.
And you see...
He grew into them over the course of his life. Big ol' hands, Edgeworth.
See, this incident, it so profoundly impacted
Also,
Phoenix.
he managed to unhinge his jaw for this. Like, he could fit most of that ginormous hand in there without discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't you who stole my money, was it?
Oh, really? It was his money that was stolen? Ah, so he's even standing up for him.
And you shouldn't apologize. Everyone's been shouting you did it, but no one has any proof. That's why, Your Honor, this boy is innocent.
But Miles, it was your money that was stolen.
Yeah.
He did it. He's the one.
We don't need proof.
Make him say he's sorry.
Why don't you all just shut up?
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, Larry.
sorry. Why don't you all just shut up? This is how... This is always how it is. Everyone ganging up and picking on one person.
Oh man, look, he has a bandage on, weird sandal flip-flop things, and a tank top?
Yep, that's the butts. Just think how he feels. He said he didn't do it, so he didn't do it.
Very well. I will replace the money myself. This class trial is over.
That's how it happened. After that, the three of us were best friends.
Aw, so they were friends.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
Yeah, I had no idea either. I mean, I forgot. That's when I learned what it meant to be alone. Totally alone, without a friend in the world.
You did a good thing, Larry.
Yeah, well... I was just lucky that I took the day off from school. If I'd been there, they would have thought I'd done it.
Aw.
So I took it kind of personally, see? When something smells, it's usually the butts. The truth is, Larry was the one that stole the money.
You think?
Absolutely.
Aww.
I remember that detail. Like, 100% it was Larry. I just don't know where you find that one out, but absolutely it was Larry.
At which point, Phoenix promptly drops him off of his... No, he still would have attributed that to his course in life. Larry was the impetus for the entire situation.
Smells, it was the butts. Also, his goddamn shirt nipples are still here.
It's just a weird... Okay, after the trial.
Anyway, Edgeworth and I talked after that class trial. That's when I heard his father was a defense attorney. I remember his eyes would shine when he talked about his father.
You read it properly.
Ow,
Yeah,
that hurts.
You're already having a difficult time voicing all these
Yeah, but that
men.
hurts in a different direction. I'm gonna become a defense attorney, just like my father. A famous defense attorney. Oh god, he's got massive hands on both ends. Dango. Then a few months later, he suddenly transferred to another school.
The DL6 incident.
Right. I'm not sure, but the transfer probably had to do with his father's death.
That's so sad.
It was several years later when I heard Edgeworth's name again. There was an article about him in the newspaper. The headline was something like Dark Suspicions of a Demon Attorney.
Huh, dark suspicions of a demon attorney.
Fabricating evidence, manipulating testimonies, covering up facts. The article said he'd do anything to get a guilty verdict. Anything. But why? What happened? I mean, that's not the Edgy I used to know at all. That's what I thought too. I tried to get in touch with him, I don't know how many times. He never replied.
Did I ever tell you how there was a kid in my 3rd grade who would come in wearing full-on suit pants, a vest, and a pocket watch?
Yeah. Well, you never told me, but I knew kids like that.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think in his case, I don't know if they had like lived abroad for the first couple of years of his life, and then they came back to the States, and he had to always dress up very dapper. It was interesting.
I knew one guy in high school that specifically dressed up really well. But that's just because he had an amazing fashion sense and pulled it off really well. Anything before high school would have looked odd. Probably.
And then there were the people wearing chains jangling off their pants in high school.
In middle school for us, sagging was so bad, the vice principal would go around with a traffic cone, and she would force you to wear a belt if your pants knocked the cone over, like she'd make you walk over it.
Oh, so in between the legs.
Uh-huh.
She'd force you to...
Yeah.
Oh. But that means it would have to be hanging nearly to your knees.
It pretty much
it?
was, yeah. She also would police the girls on whether or not their shirts were too low cut.
You always had to have your middle finger had to be like touching the bottom of the pants at the very least or something.
Yeah. You could always tell when a
I
girl
always
was
preferred
wearing
capris
something...
to shorts. Why would I ever want to wear shorts?
No, I mean, like, they also would have, like, shirts with, like, deep Vs, but, like, for middle schoolers, which is just, like, yeah.
Ew.
So you could always tell when a girl had worn something that was not okay, because she'd be wearing, effectively, like, old lady clothes.
Well, at our school, I think they just always kept extra t-shirts on hand, and they'd throw a really baggy t-shirt on a girl.
Well, generally that's what they would do, but sometimes they would end up with, like, an old woman's skirt. And that was always really funny.
Uh-huh.
So, I think there was, like, a kind of large protest where a lot of kids were like, this is unfair! And so, like, a bunch of guys started wearing, like, granny clothes, but it didn't really do anything.
Wow, that's interesting.
The lady was unflappable. Somebody stole her cone, though, and she was pissed. I don't remember if there's a, I don't remember if there's any, like, capitulation of that. I just remember one day it was gone, and she was furious.
I've already told this story several times, but when people were... You know how I was going on and on about my storytelling earlier? Yeah, the one time I remember getting... like, truly penalized in front of the whole class for something in kindergarten was when I was just jabbering about a movie or something with my friend, and it was, like, right before class was to really commence, and my teacher banished me to the blue block, which was just one cold blue tile set off the nice, warm, comfy carpet that all the other kids got to sit on. The blue block. I don't know. I could write a story about some ominous banishment to a blue realm or like a blue cubic wasteland. I don't know. It'd be interesting if you could actually take parts of your past and meld it into some kind of peculiar fantasy story.
I mean, you kind of could.
Yeah.
I guess he didn't want to see his old friends.
I couldn't just drop it, though. I wanted to meet him to learn why he'd become who he became. That's when I decided.
Wait, you don't mean... That's why? That's why you became a defense attorney? To meet Edgeworth?
If I was a defense attorney, I knew he'd have to meet me whether he wanted to or not. In court.
Oh, you see, I always assumed that Edgeworth just wanted to be a defense attorney because of that third grade incident. But no, it was because he had heard...
I think a bit of both, but like...
Interesting.
It's kind of a fun character motivation that you see if your friend go down kind of a dark path and you're like, I am going to oppose you just diametrically because it's the only way I'm going to be able to confront you over what happened.
And it's interesting because in the end, lawyers, hopefully, obviously there's a lot of crooked ones in the world who will do anything for money and serve terrible people. That's why I personally could never become a lawyer, because I would feel horrible if as the evidence came through and as the witnesses came through, I realized that I was actually serving the guilty party. Like, how do you refrain from having conflicts of interest in things like this? Where morally, you realize that, because imagine a defense attorney that is serving a guilty person, maybe even someone who had committed murder. Would you in good conscience be able to try to whittle down their sentence? I don't think I'd be capable of doing that, of trying to help someone that did something that vile.
I think that's actually... is that the next It's either in the next...
Don't
No,
stop spoiling things.
So I never finished the case, but I know there's one case where Phoenix directly knows that the person he's defending is a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember which game it is.
Yeah. So... it's interesting. And yeah, I know that in the United States, everyone has a right to an attorney. So obviously there's the court-appointed attorneys for like the vilest cases where, you know, but then, you know, there are the people that with enough money, they can get a lawyer to help them. And that lawyer doesn't have any qualms with defending or prosecuting in favor of someone who's actually a bad person. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Because I was thinking with the whole, like, serving... getting into a profession where you're going to be adversaries intentionally. Like, I was thinking to myself for a moment, oh, but this isn't like, you know, someone who wants to protect the environment versus someone who doesn't want to protect the environment, and they're, like, at odds with one another, and, oh, we're definitely going to meet. This is a situation where you're definitely going to meet, but ultimately you want to pursue justice. You want to pursue the truth, right? But then I realize, really, is that really it?
I don't...
Because the truth is what people can twist it into sometimes. I don't know. It's interesting. In any case, back to the game.
Edgeworth believed in me, and I believe in him. He's in pain and no one's on his side. I'm the only one who knows the real Edgeworth. I'm the only one who can help him. Whoa, Nick! So is that why you helped me out for free? Yes. I helped you because I believed in you. Except I don't remember saying I'd do it for free. Aw, Nick! Nick!
Nick! We have to save Mr. Edgeworth if it's the last thing we do, okay?
Right. Oh, it very well may be.
First, there's that rental boat shop caretaker. We need to find out who or what he is. I thought you guys already determined, or did
No, Phoenix says
internally mused about it, but he didn't actually say it aloud.
I'd settle for who. I guess I can clean out some of this evidence I no longer need. Okay, let's go.